G'day guys, it's DP Bricks here with episode 15 of building a clone artillery base in LEGO. This will be the last episode before the finale, and in it I'll be adding a bunch of plants and trees to the build, as well as finishing off a few things around the MOC. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm starting off by building the pine trees for the MOC by weaving leaf elements together and stacking them around a trunk, which is a technique I've seen many other builders use. With the trees done, I moved on to completing some details on the ground across the build. So as you just watched, I added all the trees and plants into the MOC. I added 4 pine trees down here, and then just some plants up there, and also some plants down here. But I thought it turned out pretty well. Initially, I had these trees more spaced evenly, like some were close to the hill, others were up there. But I decided to just basically put them all here, because it kind of felt weird having trees this close to the base, and it also created this, having them all here created the effect that the forest is kind of this side and it's creeping this way, and then this area has been cleared. But yeah, I'll start out down here. So down here, I've got 4 pine trees. Basically, I used this kind of weaving technique. I'm not sure who invented it, definitely wasn't me, but it's quite common and I've seen a lot of builders use it. And I had all the parts to do it, so I decided to go with this tree method. I was thinking of doing there's these newer fern pieces that make, I think, better pine trees, but I think this turned out, obviously I didn't have the parts to do the other things, so I used the parts that I had, because those parts are pretty new and I don't think I have any in my collection. But as you can see here, I've got these 4 here. Basically they just use a cylinder down the middle with supports coming out to support the leaves. I can't really show you that because it's behind it, but yeah, you guys get the gist. Then I've got a smaller tree over here with just a 1x1 trunk compared to the 2x2 trunk in those ones. And then below them, I just have a bunch of plants using light green, green and dark green elements. I thought that turned out pretty well. I have it on both sides, and basically just creating the same effect that the forest is kind of creeping in this way. So in the other corner, I've built a couple more large trees, as you can see. And then moving around, I've built this kind of landing pad thing using snot with some yellow markings. I'm not 100% sure what I want to use it for. I'm thinking maybe an ATRT or some crates. Then in between these two trees, I have added this path, as you saw, just to kind of mix up the green, which there's a lot of with the trees and everything, but I thought it turned out pretty well. And probably in the final thing, I'm going to have clones probably coming in from this side, kind of ambushing the main droid force, which I think will be here. But yeah, that's what I added down here. So moving on to the top, I've done a lot less than I did down there, but I added these plant patches. Initially I had 2 pine trees here and here, but I decided to get rid of them because they looked kind of awkward and it didn't really make sense having them that close to the turbo laser. But I'll start over here. As you can see, I've added this small patch using the same elements as these down there. Then I also added another smaller patch, and then behind the communications antenna I've added this slightly bigger patch. Then behind all that I have the biggest patch up here, which is basically just to help create the effect that the forest is of course creeping in from around the build into the mock. But yeah, thought that turned out pretty well. And then behind that I have a dark bluish grey rock with transitioning into dark tan. It's a pretty big rock. I think it's the biggest up here compared to the other rocks, but yeah, I said I'd build this here last episode, and yeah, I've done it pretty well, I think. But yeah, that's what I did for the top. Definitely a lot less than what's going on down here, but I think it definitely needed some plants around to add an extra layer and also kind of break up the just continuous green flat surfaces. That's going to be it for the final episode before the finale. I got a decent bit done with the trees, which I hadn't really thought of a concrete design that I wanted to go with, but I solidified that obviously with this pine tree design, which I think turned out pretty well with the parts that I had. And then I also added all the, obviously the plant patches around the mock to add some more depth. I added that rock at the back over there, and then I also added the path down here, which I hope will kind of add to the final mock when I'm setting up all the scenes with the minifigures. But in the next episode it won't be a normal one, obviously it will be the finale, so this is the last regular episode, and I'm hoping to just do some touch-ups. I might end up changing a couple of things, we'll see, but the main probably gist of it will just be the minifigures. And I also think I want to build kind of in this area I want to build like exploding stap mid-air that's been like shot down by, I don't know, an RPG or something, and then I want to rig a light to it, so I'm going to have to tear up a lot of the terrain over there, maybe. Obviously we'll see how it goes, but I'll see how that works. I think that could be pretty cool, but yeah, that'll be done in the finale. So that's going to be it, and thanks for watching.